You guys, today, Caitlin Clark got fined $200. Kathy, what do you think you are accomplishing by that? What kind of message do you think you're accomplishing by doing? You're not even making an example out of her by fining her an exorbitant amount of money. You are literally making a joke out of yourself by fining her such a little.
The WNBA is once again in the middle of controversy, and it shows exactly what people think is wrong with how the league is run. This time, it's not about bad refereeing or missed calls in games. Instead, the league is punishing its biggest star simply for speaking up about problems that everyone can see.
Okay, and we know how this works because Sophie Cunningham has told us how this works. If you talk about the refereeing, if you talk about the officiating, on the InstaFace, on the TikToks, on the Twitters, any of that social media, in the public, in the interview, if you mouth it in the shower, Kathy Engelbert will peek in and look around at you and point at you and be like, you're fined. Even though she won't clean up the officiating in her trash-ass league? Okay.
Caitlin Clark, the star guard of the Indiana Fever who has completely changed women's basketball, was fined $200 after her team's playoff win against the Atlanta Dream. The fine came because she posted on Instagram saying, "Refs couldn't stop us."
So during the game, we saw here, the Fever players celebrating. I would assume based on the reaction that this was after the Lexi Hull steal and everything. And Caitlin Clark on Instagram commented this: "Refs couldn't stop us. Elite bench mob. It wasn't for the lack of trying. Glad they're having fun and celebrating like no other teams. Will she get fined for saying that?" Yeah, she got fined.
Timing makes things even clearer. Right when the Fever are having their best playoff run in almost 10 years, surprising everyone by beating the Las Vegas Aces in Game 1 of the semifinals as big underdogs, the WNBA chooses this moment to punish Clark and show its power.
When you're on the WNBA's time or the NFL's time or the NBA's time, getting fined, when you're on their time, criticizing the officials, calling out the officiating, I've seen players get fined for that. But when you're on your own time, well, now, other than Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark seems to be the two players that come to my mind of players getting fined, criticizing the officials, doing it on their own time, quote unquote, off the clock.
Rather than celebrating the amazing stories coming out of these playoffs, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and her team are spending their time watching social media and handing out small fines for honest comments that simply point out what everyone can already see.
It is real. The hate is real, Kathy. I see you hating on us from a mile away, Kathy Engelbert. We all see it. You out here trying to fine Caitlin Clark. You out here fining the one person who's actually bringing money into this league. What a joke. You're mad that the Indiana Fever are here right now. Y'all didn't expect us to get this far. Y'all really didn't expect it. We got Sophie Cunningham exposing the whole league agenda. Exposing them. Caitlin Clark mocking them all on Twitter, all on Instagram, everywhere, because they are.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Here's exactly what happened. After the Fever's 87-85 win over Atlanta in Game 3 of their first-round series, Clark replied to her team's Instagram post celebrating the bench. She wrote two short comments: "Elite bench mob and refs couldn't stop us." That second comment, just 4 words, echoing what millions of fans have said all season, was enough for the WNBA to fine her $200. The decision is beyond ridiculous.
What world do we live in? Like, I'm pretty sure she just said the refs can't stop them celebrating. This isn't even her going at refs. It's literally like if you say the word refs and you're an Indiana Fever player, you're going to get fined. If you say the word refs as a Fever player, the word referees has to be spoken, cannot be said by an Indiana Fever player, otherwise it's a fine. And the worst part is if they got fined for celebrating. So I don't think, only she got fined, not everybody. There's other people on the floor. Everything. She's not, like, they're celebrating. The timeout's been called. or the foul's been called, it is what it is.
This is a league that has let its biggest star be targeted all season. But the moment she makes the smallest comment about bad officiating, they punish her like she did something unforgivable. And here's the craziest part, Clark isn't even playing in these playoffs. She's been out since July with a groin injury that cut her second season short after only 13 games. This is the same player who brought record attention and money to the WNBA, who filled arenas and boosted TV ratings to new highs. Yet, even while stuck on the sidelines and dealing with the frustration of not being able to play, Clark still ended up in the WNBA's line of fire for nothing more than speaking the plain truth.
WNBA definitely got to play these women more. You got to pay these women more. Cause what the hell is a $200 fine? This picture right here is giving me Mom Made Pizza Rolls vibes. Mom Made Pizza Rolls and everybody. Caitlin Clark was fined $200 for her comments she left on the IG post. She said refs couldn't stop us, meaning they advanced to the next round despite the refs trying to throw them a curveball every game, despite having to play against the refs. And the league said, "Oh hell nah, you gotta run me that 200. You got to run me that 200.
Clark's own reaction says it all. She clearly doesn't take this silly punishment seriously at all.
Fined $200 for this LOL, she posted on X, accompanied by laughing emojis and a promise that the bench mob will be even more rowdy tomorrow.
Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham even made fun of the fine, joking that it would break the bank for Clark and sarcastically suggesting they start a GoFundMe. The players themselves see the punishment as a joke, and they're right. When you look at the numbers, the pettiness becomes clear. Clark earns about $78,000 a year from the WNBA, but her deals with Nike, Gatorade, and other brands bring her tens of millions. That $200 fine? It's about 0.007% of her estimated net worth. The issue isn't the money, it's the message the league is sending. Instead of fixing the ongoing officiating problems that have frustrated players and fans all season, the WNBA is choosing to punish the ones who speak up about them. What makes it worse is that Clark's comment wasn't even controversial. She didn't insult referees by name, didn't curse, and didn't threaten anyone. All she did was point out that poor officiating couldn't stop her team from winning, a statement that could just as easily be read as praise for her teammates' toughness. Yet somehow, this mild observation was treated as a crime, while the real problems she was talking about remain ignored.
That Sophie has got jokes. She retweeted this. That's really going to break the bank for her. Starting a GoFundMe now. Sophie, you got jokes. Hun, you got jokes. Sophie Cunningham Central, I'll donate.
The timing of this fine shows just how backwards the WNBA's priorities are. While Clark was being punished for a harmless Instagram comment, her team was gearing up for the semifinals against the Las Vegas Aces. At the same time, Aces star AJA Wilson was being celebrated for winning her 4th MVP award. The contrast says it all. The league's most decorated player is honored, while its most popular player is fined for mild criticism of refereeing. It's a snapshot of everything wrong with how the WNBA is run. What makes it worse is the bigger picture. All season long, bad officiating has been a major issue for players, coaches, and fans. From the infamous Fever Sun brawl with 5 technical fouls and 3 ejections, to constant missed calls and inconsistent whistles, the refereeing problem has been impossible to ignore. Coaches have been fined for calling it out, players keep piling up technical fouls, and fan complaints are at an all-time high. Yet instead of addressing these issues, the league spends its energy punishing the people who speak the truth about them.
Rather than fining players for being excited on the bench and for letting it be known how trash your referees are, why don't you start fining referees for not calling fouls? Why don't you start putting that type of energy into making sure the game is played better? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Because that would be nice. That would be nice if you could do that.
Instead of fixing these problems, the WNBA keeps going after the people who point them out. Golden State coach Natalie Nikasi was fined for questioning officiating bias. Fever coach Stephanie White has been calling out disrespectful officiating for months. Even Las Vegas coach Becky Hammond, whose team often benefits from favorable calls, has admitted that the refereeing in other games is poor. The message is clear. The experts who know the game best all agree that officiating is a problem, but the league's solution is to fine them rather than fix it. That's what makes Clark's fine even more insulting. The Indiana Fever, missing 6 key players including their biggest star, have still managed an incredible playoff run. They beat the 3rd-seeded Atlanta Dream in a tough 3-game series, then stunned everyone by taking Game 1 against the 2nd-seeded Las Vegas Aces on the road, 89-73. Kelsey Mitchell was outstanding, scoring 34 points, the second-highest total in Fever playoff history. Instead of celebrating this underdog story, the league is wasting time punishing harmless comments.
What if this is the WNBA foreshadowing? We're seeing how you're acting on the bench. We're seeing how you're talking to the officials on the bench. We will tee you up. Now, whether I think that she deserves a tee for it or not, we're not even going to get into that. What if this is just saying, hey, we're going to tee you up if you continue to get at the officials, if you continue to talk up the officials, if you continue to show up the officials on the sideline, we're going to tee you up. We're not going to tee Sophie up.
This moment should have been about celebrating resilience, teamwork, and the depth of talent in women's basketball. Instead, the WNBA chose to fine its biggest star for simply saying that officials couldn't stop her team's amazing run. It's tone-deaf, petty, and the exact opposite of what the league claims to want: growth and visibility. The contrast with A'ja Wilson makes it even clearer. Wilson, fresh off winning her record-breaking 4th MVP award, is everything the WNBA establishment loves to highlight: dominant on the court, polished in interviews, and never critical of how the league is run. But when her Las Vegas Aces met the Fever in the semifinals, it wasn't Wilson who stole the spotlight. She struggled, shooting just 6-for-22, while Kelsey Mitchell and the Fever bench, the very players Clark was cheering for in her Instagram comment, dominated the game from start to finish.
The Aces couldn't stop her. I actually don't think that the Aces perimeter, honestly, defense or offense, is very good, but specifically defense, they just couldn't find an answer for Kelsey. They were sending 2 on her at different times, but the Fever were running cutters. Kelsey was making her way to the rim. Now, I will say the Aces defense is scary around the rim because you have somebody like A'ja who averages over 2 blocks a game, and she's just there waiting and ready to block your shot if you get too close to the rim. But Kelsey Mitchell, I mean, she was just finding her spots, getting to her lanes, hitting those open threes, all of the things.
The irony couldn't be clearer. Clark gets fined for saying refs couldn't stop her team, and then that very same team goes out and proves her right by dominating the league's favorite star and her heavily favored squad. If the WNBA were smart, they'd be promoting this incredible underdog story instead of wasting time on petty Instagram fines. But smart planning and forward thinking have never been the strengths of Cathy Engelbert's leadership. This fine shows everything wrong with how the WNBA handles its players and manages the league. Instead of protecting stars and fixing real concerns about poor officiating, the league seems more interested in flexing authority and keeping players in line. It's the same outdated mindset that has hurt women's sports for decades, choosing control over competition, politics over performance, and convenience over the well-being of athletes. What makes it worse is how easily avoidable this whole situation was. If the WNBA put even half the effort into improving refereeing that it spends monitoring social media, players like Clark wouldn't feel the need to call it out. With better training for officials, stronger accountability, or even just honest acknowledgement of the problem, the league could build trust. Instead, they've punished the messenger while the message itself only gets louder and harder to ignore.
All the money that Caitlin Clark has generated for this league, all the tickets sold, all the jerseys, all the record revenue of the ratings, the television deal, and they're going to put their hands in her pocket for $200 for this. I'm like, hey man, do we need to call the armored guard? Do we need to have all this? And we need to deliver it directly to Cathy Engelbert's office. As a matter of fact, Caitlin Clark herself should be able to make an appearance, and she should do how Ice Cube did, when he used to run up into record labels. I'm saying, bring a bat. Caitlin, bring a bat. Bring the black Air.
Clark's reaction to the fine, laughing it off and promising her bench would bring even more energy, shows exactly why she's so loved in women's basketball. She doesn't let league politics intimidate her, she speaks honestly, and she continues to lift up her teammates even while stuck on the sidelines. Those are the same qualities that made her a college legend and will keep her as a game-changing pro for years to come. The real disappointment isn't that Caitlin Clark was fined $200 for an Instagram comment, it's that the WNBA keeps wasting chances to build on the excitement she's brought to the sport. They have the most popular player in league history, a team making a surprising playoff run, and storylines that could capture fans everywhere. But instead of seizing this golden opportunity, the league is focused on petty fines and the same tone-deaf mindset that has held women's sports back for decades.
Like, it is madness. It is madness. And I mean this. Like, the amount of people are like, oh, I hate this team. It's like, why? They're excessively celebrating. They're excessively celebrating. They're not there talking down on other teams. They're not doing the Alyssa Thomas. They're not doing a Phoenix Mercury and shit talking other teams' fans. They're not doing Phoenix Mercury and shit talking the other team's players, their coaches, their all of this stuff. And then when they lose, they're silent and they dodge everything. Hell no, they're just celebrating. They're just celebrating. They actually find somebody for saying refs can't stop. The refs won't stop us.
The message is obvious. The WNBA cares more about controlling the story than fixing the game itself. Instead of solving problems, they punish players for pointing them out. And they're even willing to waste the huge platform Caitlin Clark has created, just to protect their own authority. This kind of short-sighted thinking is exactly why women's basketball has struggled to reach its full potential, and why real change still feels out of reach under the league's current leadership.